impact. It really is. I had no idea we did that.
Look at this. And that's us. Look at what the county is.
Good Lord. What are they gonna do with all this? I don't
How
want to
about
know.
fix the daggone roads?
How about fix the city of Columbia sewer? They getting a lot of money too?
Oh my God. Uh, I don't have it on here, but it's like 100 million. You know, I don't know how they figure this out based on population.
Yes, I don't know. I have no
He
idea.
likes it. He likes to be punctual, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Millennium.
Comb your
Millennium.
hair, man.
Millennium.
What a way to be greeted every week. Here, you know, be 30 minutes early. All of us retirees and business owners.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I would like to call the public hearing to order. It is 7 o'clock. Anybody here for the public hearing tonight on the rezoning of parcel ordinance 2102, rezoning from PDD to commercial general? Anybody here for that public hearing comments? Oh, okay, we have two victims. Come on up. Just give us your name and,
I didn't intend to be a victim. I was just presenting, so.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. It's Craig Waits. I'm with Congaree Developers LLC. We're here on behalf of the property owner, which is Sechilla Corporation. They've owned the property for, I don't know, about 6 or 7 years now. We have been asked by a client of ours who is a grocery store who is under contract for the property to present a case for rezoning from mixed use to general commercial. In talking with Kay and working with some of the staff, we felt like this was going to be a better zoning classification for this particular use. I do have basic site plans that I'm more than happy to share with you. We are in the process of we've done a few things. One is we've worked out with Richland County to extend the sewer up Broad River Road towards Ashcroft subdivision. We have worked with the DOT with regards to acceptable access. So we've got other development items that we have to work through, but at this point we felt like it was appropriate to make this application, knowing that the town preferred to have a general commercial zoning for this use as opposed to the mixed use classification itself.
Did you say grocery store?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Great. Thank you for any comments from the council, questions or anything like that? Well, I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Anybody else for the rezoning of that from PDD to commercial general? Seeing none, I'm going to call the public hearing to a close. And I would like to call the regular council meeting to adjournment. Call to order. Begin by the Pledge of Allegiance and Invocation by Councilman Bill Danielson. Please rise. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, we stand here in front of you to make the appropriate decisions and with your guidance, do what's best for the town of Irmo. Also, protect our servicemen and women, and especially protect our local law enforcement. They do a great job, and we appreciate your support. We do this in love of you. In your name, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Danielson. We have the reading of the minutes from February 16th, 2021. Is there a motion for the minutes? Acceptance of the minutes of that day.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Are there any changes? Seeing none, is there all in favor of the minutes from February 16, 2021, say aye.
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 All opposed? It's unanimous. The minutes from March 2nd, 2021, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
Is there Is there any changes to the minutes? Anybody has any changes or additions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the minutes as written, March 2nd, 2021, say aye.
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 All opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. Report of standing, administrative briefing. Mr. Brown, do you have any changes to your administrative briefing that you sent to us electronically?
No, sir, I have nothing to add at this time.
Okay, great. Is there any questions for Mr. Brown from the council for the administrative briefing? Seeing none, thank you. Mr. Sickinger, do we have any new in-town businesses in the town of Irmo?
Mr. Mayor, we do. And again, this is our little give back for those who just registered for their business license to the town. And that is Lake Murray Axe Throwing, Charleston ENT Associates, Decision Dynamics, S&S Medical Supplies, Sprint Spectrum, and The Richard Firm. Also, point of personal privilege, Mr. Mayor, I was just told that the video isn't streaming on YouTube.
It's not streaming? Video,
Okay, just
okay. All right. Okay, I hope we can get that straight. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Seeing none. Consideration of communications. We have a few tonight. I'd like to start by a recognition and proclamation. Will the council join me down here, please? Oh, man. I'm gonna do damage. Hold on. Right. Oh, Bill. I'm getting old, man. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Will Chuck Wade from Fully Promoted and Debbie, if you're here, as well as Laura Sullivan, come on down. And his son, come on down. Hey, come on up. Thank you. This is your family?
Yes.
Come on, Samurai, come on.
Debbie, Laura,
All right.
grandsons,
Hey,
Charlie and Jimmy.
well, can you fit in here? Come on. Look that way for the camera so you get a good shot. Well, is that good? All right. Well, as you know, we are, every month we give a special recognition to the businesses in the town of Irmo. And for this month, March 2021, it is Fully Promoted. Now, that Fully Promoted does a great job of embroidering our town shirts. And look around, I guess Mr. Bush, Councilman Bush, that's some fine work he does for us, and that's a proof of what he does for the community, as well as presented in recognition of being the Small Business of the Month for the town of Irmo, March 2021. Congratulations. Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. You want to say anything?
We've enjoyed being in Irmo for 14 years. We're in our third location. If we hadn't been able to get into the Blockbuster building, I don't know what we would have done because we weren't leaving Irmo.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, bud. Good to see you.
Council, don't leave. Is anybody here from the Lexington Medical Center? All right, Dr. Tripp, come on. Up. Hey, Dr. Tripp. I see you got that Alabama, that Clemson stuff on. I'm sorry.
We can do some help with your.
Thank you. Well, again, this is a proclamation that the council is going to bestow upon the Lexington Medical Center 50th anniversary of saving lives and taking care of the Irmo community. As you know, we are deeply appreciative and deeply happy that you have been a partner with us in our community. And just to kind of quickly read this to you, whereas in 1966, Lexington County voters approved the referendum that the Lexington County Hospital was open on January 6, 1971, on 22 acres of land donated by the Hulan family with 125 beds and 250 employees. And whereas throughout the 80s, 90s, the Lexington Medical Center emerged as a leader in the healthcare and has pioneered the community medical centers throughout the county, created a foundation to begin operating skills and nursing facilities with Alzheimer's care, as well as establishing a physicians network with a variety of medical specialties. Whereas in 2012, Lexington Medical Center began providing the full range of heart services, including open heart surgery, as well as therapeutic cardiac catheterizations, becoming the national leader within a 3-star rating, becoming one of the only 30 of hospitals in the country to receive the Heart Care National Distinction of Excellence. And whereas, a lot of stuff here, 2019, Lexington Medical Center completed the largest hospital expansion in South Carolina history when it opened with new patients in a care tower. And whereas Lexington Medical Center now has 557 beds, 4 community medical centers, 70 practicing physicians, more than 7,000 employees, and is locally owned independent hospital in the Midlands, and it operates one of the busiest emergency departments in South Carolina, treating nearly 90,000 patients a year, delivering 4,000 babies, performing more than 27,000 surgeries, and 1 million office visits per year. Now, I therefore, Mayor Barry A. Walker, along with the Irmo Town Council, hereby celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Lexington Medical Center throughout the town of Irmo and call observance and attention to all of our citizens. Whew, thank you.
Let me just say, I appreciate this so much. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, our Board of Directors, and everybody, all 7,000 employees, we are extremely proud of what we've done, but there's still more to do. This expansion that we just did March a year ago, fortunately, we had it there because COVID hit. And so we've always had beds, we've always had room, and I'm just proud of that. The mission, which the board takes very seriously, is to provide quality health services that meet the needs of the community. And I might say that our first community medical center was up here in Irmo, about 1986, somewhere about that time. And so we've had one in Lexington, open one today in the Northeast, but, we're Lexington County. We eat okra, and we're proud to be associated with Irmo, and I spread the Irmies everywhere I can go. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other work too?
Oh, I gotta wait on that one. Unless are you here for the
No, but the resolution.
not yet.
Okay.
Don't leave.
Yes,
Is there anybody here from the, the other one? Anybody here from the Bleeding Disorder Awareness Month? Oh, come on up. Thank you. Jesus. You want to read this?
You're gonna hyperventilate, dude. You're gonna hyperventilate in that mask. You're gonna hyperventilate in that mask.
That's what the problem is. I'm hyperventilating.
That's right.
Social distance.
Hello, folks.
Come on, Senator. I promise I won't bite.
Promise.
Yeah. With this COVID going on, this mask, it's kind of hard to read. And so I'm going to take my mask off while I read this. Is that all right? All right. Thank you. Anyway, this is another proclamation we're doing today. It's for Bleeding Disorder Awareness Month for March 2021. And I'd like to read this proclamation to y'all. And it reads as follows. The Town of Irmo Council is proud to commemorate March 21st, March 2021 as Bleeding Disorder Awareness Month in the state of South Carolina. And whereas designated will formalize and expand upon the designation of 35 years ago as March 6th as Hemophilia Awareness Month by President Ronald Reagan. And whereas bleeding disorder advocates during this month wear red material around their neck, i.g. lace, scarves, and ties. And whereas these bleeding disorders, which share the inability to form a proper blood clot and is characterized by extended bleeding after injury, surgery, trauma, or administration, and can lead to significant morbidity and be fatal if not treated effectively. And whereas many individuals in the hemophilia became infected with HIV and is due to contamination of the blood supply and the blood products, and where the Awareness Month in South Carolina will generate great awareness and understanding not only of hemophilia, but inherited disorders, including von Willebrand disease, whereas the alone impacts an estimate 1% of the US population or 3.2 million individuals, and whereas the Awareness Month will foster greater sense of community and shared purpose among the individuals with all inheritable blood disorders, and whereas the Awareness Month will clearly elevate awareness of the engagement in the inherent bleeding disorders journey beyond our community into the general public, enabling the prevention and illness and unnecessary procedures and disabilities. Now, we, the town of Irmo, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2021 as Bleeding Disorders Awareness Month in the town of Irmo. And I thank y'all very much for that. Here you go. Would you like to say anything? What are your names?
Well, my name is Ward Keith, and what I want to do is just thank the town of Irmo, just the support and awareness for people with bleeding disorder, and I just want to just thank everyone for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, is this gifts? Oh, well, thank you. I thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. I think that's it for right now. All right. Let's go back up. Thank you. All right. Okay, continuing on with consideration communication, Miss Christine Brundage from the Irmo Dog Park Committee, will you come up? Thank you.
Hello. Slideshow wise, how do I? Are you just gonna click? Or? Okay. All right. If you start it, I have a slideshow. So I'm Christina Brundage, and I wanted to talk to the council today about Irmo Unleashed, hopefully our new town dog park. If you want to go. Next slide. So we've been talking about some amenities in the park. I have been talking with Renee and Whit as well. And I will, after, that's a bit loud. After this meeting, I will send an email to everyone kind of detailing these and giving you some links so you can also look at it. But we thought that having water misters in the park would be a great idea for the summer months. They can be timed so we don't waste water, but also dogs can have the option to cool off. It would be great to have dog and human water fountains, especially the ones that people can fill up their water bottles with, so we can kind of be a little more environmentally conscious. And I know Whit and Renee were talking about having gazebos, which would be a great option for people to have some shelter while they're watching their dogs, but also having benches for the people who don't want to be around other people. Obviously, dog waste stations, toys, a small dog and a large dog area to keep smaller dogs safe as they play, an agility area to help people train their dogs if they would like, or to just get more exercise, and also having dog tags for dogs who are registered so we know that they're registered with the town. Next slide. We've come up with actually a lot of rules, but I thought these were kind of the more pertinent ones that you guys might have questions about. All of the dog parks around the area do not allow unaltered pets. So if we were to allow unaltered pets to come into the park on certain days, that would give the people of Irmo more of a chance to let their dogs interact with others. And after a year, we could look at our data, and if there were significant problems, then we could take the unaltered pet days away. If there weren't, then we could open it up for every day. And again, that would kind of set us apart from everybody else. Children, it's okay. No children under 10 allowed inside of the park. That's because kids can kind of be excitable to dogs, and some dogs are not okay around children. Puppies must be over 4 months old. That's because you have to be 4 months old to get your rabies vaccination. So if they haven't reached that, then they haven't been able to have all of their vaccinations. Being accompanied by someone 18 years and older just means that they're going to have a responsible adult in the park at all times. Maximum of 3 dogs per household, because one person can't watch 6 dogs at once safely in the park. And also, we wanted to make sure that there will be no breed disqualifications. So have the park open to everybody, pitties, Rottweilers, German Shepherds, down to Chihuahuas. Everybody, we think, should be included with the park. Next slide. And I did want to bring up, I know the current estimated section is a half an acre, but as you can see, all of the other parks in the area are at least 2 acres. I know the section that we're looking at, the old tennis courts, is going to be shared, but I think it would be great if we could increase that to at least 2 acres, because I think this has the possibility to be an amazing park, the best one in the area. But in order to do that, we need the space. We need the ability to make it amazing. Next slide. I kind of wanted to introduce you guys to the dogs of Irmo. Next slide. So this is Apollo. He is a German Shepherd, and his owner would love to have a place where he can run, play fetch, and socialize with other dogs. Next slide. This is Meaty the Mutt, and Emma, a beautiful 4-year-old Great Dane. Next slide. This is Ruger. His owner would also love a place where he can socialize and where she can meet new people and friends, because that's another part about dog parks. You meet people who are in the same mind as you. Next slide. These are my boys. This is Max and Sketch. Max is a golden retriever mix, and Sketch is a greyhound, so he would love a space where he can run. Next slide. This is Colton and Layla. Their owners live in an apartment, so having a nice small dog area would be great for them. Next slide. This is George, Mimo, and Ginger. Next slide. This is Millie. She's an old girl. She's actually blind, but having a place where she can run around and meet new friends would be great as well. This is Bella, a German Shepherd, and Rain, a Morgie. This is Bruno and Roscoe. Max and Beatrice and Cheese. Wally and Benelli. Maddie and English Shepherd, and Roxy. So I'm really excited about the dog park. I think it, again, will be an amazing place for Irmo, something that people will want to come to Irmo for. And I'm really excited to work with the council to get it done. And this is my contact information and our Facebook page. Again, I will send an email after the meeting detailing more things.
All those dogs were residents of Irmo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that's just a small amount of dogs
They
in
can't
Irmo.
vote? Oh, okay.
But we do so far have over 100 members in our Facebook group.
Wow, okay. Good. Any questions, council? Any questions for them? Well, we thank you. Oh, you have, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Danson.
Just quickly, thank you for your presentation. I have a dog who's really not a dog. He thinks he's a person, and we treat him as such. But I'm assuming the dogs will have to all be registered.
Yes, that's
So everybody knows that these dogs are on a list, and nobody can come in unless they're on that list. Is that a correct assumption?
exactly, yeah. So we've been talking, the mayor and I have been talking about having a card system. So they have to be registered through the town of Irmo, so we know that they've had all of their vaccinations. We'll know whether or not they've been altered, and then we'll give them a card, and only they are allowed to go into the park with that card. So in that way, we'll be able to know, okay, well, Bill went into the park at 10 a.m. today, and Christina went into the park at 12. So it'll be a way to be able to see who is going into the park as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions, council? Well,
If you
thank you,
think
Ms.
of-
Brundage, for your presentation. I was well received, and I thank you for sharing it with us.
Yeah, thank you. And again, if you have any questions, you can email me. And yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. I'd like to also, under receipt of communications, mention that we have a free COVID testing station set up in the community park of Irmo. It's been up and running for about a week now, or a little over a week, and a lot of people have gone and got tested free of charge. I'm going to try to expand that to actually get vaccines out there in the next coming weeks. It's still in work in progress, but I want to make sure that it's on the record and people know that it exists. Also, I got word tonight from the Richland County Recreation Commission that the Friars Gate Park, that's the one on Chadford Road, the park at the end of Chadford Road, the recreation. They applied for a PARD grant for $500,000, and they got it to fix up that field, the baseball field. And they're actually in the process of doing construction over there to put new irrigation in, put new sod down, build that field up to a better quality of what it is. So unfortunately, while they're doing the construction zone, the park is off limits to the public. So I just wanted you to know, if anybody ever asks what's going on in the park now, that's what's happening. Richland County is now reinvesting in our neighborhood, in that community park. So also, the last bit of information I got is, as you know, the president has signed a House Resolution 1319, better known as the American Rescue Plan. And that $1.9 trillion emergency relief has basically gotten Americans that $1,400 check that's in the mail. And it was supposed to get it sometime soon. I haven't gotten one yet. But it also had in that bill $65.1 billion in going directly to municipal governments in response for the COVID-19 public health emergency and to offset revenue losses and bolster economic recovery. Out of that money, $19.53 billion has been allocated to non-entitled cities, which means cities that have populations less than 50,000. As you know, Irmo has a population of around 14,000 people. These funds may be used in response for COVID-19 public health emergencies, such as assistance to households, small business, infrastructure, investments in water and sewer projects, broadband infrastructure. And I'm here to report tonight that our cut, Irmo's portion of that money, is approximately $4.66 million that we will receive starting in June. We'll get half of that in June and another half 6 months later. We don't have the exact figures, but we know that that's what's been allocated towards us. And I wanted to bring that to the council's attention and in the public that, we're in the line to get some help as far as COVID relief. Also, is there any other consideration of communications from any council member?
Yeah, I wouldn't normally do this, Mayor, but there's a chance of severe weather tomorrow in the late afternoon, severe weather, tornado warnings and whatnot. So I wouldn't normally do it, but the season hasn't really hit us yet. And since it just got here, I thought residents might want to know for Thursday is the timing on that.
Okay, thank you. Any other receipt of communications? Seeing none, I want to do presentation by citizens. This is your opportunity to comment on anything on our agenda that you'd like to let the council know about before we begin the process of debating it and voting on them. I'd like to start with Ms. Labrina Myers. Are you here tonight? Okay, Ms. Myers, come up here and let the council know what you like to talk to us about or let us know about.
Good evening, everyone. I am Labrina Myers. I am new to the Irmo area. Oh,
Welcome,
you hear
thank
me? Okay, hi, I'm Labrina Myers. I'm new to the area, a new resident. I purchased a home in the Friars Gate area, in the Elstow Road area, in the cul-de-sac a little over a year ago. And my concern is the skate park. I'm having a lot of issues already. My backyard backs up directly to this park. I've not been able to access my backyard in over a year due to the barricades. So I've not been able to do any lawn maintenance. I can't access my backyard from the front because of how the property is made. I purchased it as being fenced off. When I purchased this property, I purchased it specifically, it was on a quiet cul-de-sac. A lot of retired people. I did talk to my neighbors before I even purchased this home. I live at 232 Elstow, which backs directly up to the proposed skate park and what have you. Before we purchased this home, my real estate agent reached out to Parks and Recreation to ask, because at that time, I purchased a home in November of 2020. 2019. Everything that we were told before I purchased this home is not what I'm getting. I've only been in the property for about a year and a half, and I'm really considering selling and moving. A skate park in my backyard, I've had, even without this, I've had homeless people living in my shed. I've had people jumping the fence coming through my yard. I've had things missing out of my backyard, out of the shed, so I've had to empty the shed. I've had to get with Mid-Carolina to come and install, I guess it would be called like a street light in the backyard so that I can have better visibility back there. And I'm single, so that I can have, better visibility. I've had to, like I said, empty my shed, open the doors, so that at night, if I hear things, I can kind of like look out to, ensure that no one is living or sleeping in my shed, in the shed back there. We've had locks on it. They've, broken the lock or what have you. I'm new at this, so please forgive me. I may be rambling on. I've never spoken in a public forum, so please forgive me. But my basic concern is that with the skate park, I'm concerned about the traffic. I have grandkids. I'm concerned about what is it going to do for, for the reasons why I purchased this property. This is my retirement home. I'm 50. I work in the area. I've worked in the area for 10 years, so I decided to purchase here. And I can tell you I'm very sad and I'm very disappointed because while I purchased, I've not gotten any of that. I've asked questions. I can't get anything. I've talked to Parks and Recreations and can't get anywhere, can't get any answers. How can I get the barricades moved? I've been told, well, if we put gates up there, we'll give you a key and you can access your backyard that way. I'm like, so if I come home 10 o'clock at night.
Excuse me, I don't mean to cut you off, but you have a 3-minute time limit.
Okay.
I failed to mention that.
Well, that's fine. I'm concerned about the skate park, just the traffic. I'm concerned about the accessibility of it, just the influx of people, the noise that it's going to bring. I'm really concerned about all of those things.
Okay, and I'm just concerned, you mentioned that you can't access your backyard.
I cannot, sir.
Do you understand? Okay, that gentleman right there is Whit Klein. He's our Public Works Director.
Okay, I've left messages, but okay.
Okay, well, there he is. Would you please talk to him?
Okay.
And let us find out why you can't access your property, your backyard from the front of your house? Because that's the first time I'm hearing about this.
Well, maybe then I'm glad I did speak then.
I'm glad, thank you.
I'm sorry if I'm rambling on, but thank you.
Thank you. Well, just talk to Whit for me, please. Thank you. Miss Maggie May? Miss Maggie May, would you please come on down and talk to us and let us know where you live at?
Thank you so much. I'm at
And
205
I'm
Elstow
sorry to
Road.
interrupt you, but we do have a 3-minute time
Yes, sir.
limit. This light in front of you will indicate what you have left. When it turns red, please wrap up what you're saying.
Yes, sir. I will be brief. You allowed me to speak last time. Thank you. And I talked about the skate park, which will be going into the tennis park. And I think you said it's 9 acres. Is that what you said? Janice Pede and I, just out of curiosity, we took a field trip. And if y'all haven't been over to the skate park at Owens Field, I would suggest that you go. We went. It's beautiful. It's 15,000 square feet skate park, just the skate park. And of course, there's other recreational facilities around it. Tennis and bike paths and walking paths and that sort of thing. But it's completely insulated by a wide tree barrier. And when you're in that skate park or in Owens Field Skate Park, which is 81 acres, you cannot see a home. This skate park that y'all are proposing is right in our backyard. We can hear it, we can see it. And we care for that area. We care for those owls. We care for that wildlife. I know you're tired of hearing about the owls, but I care for them. They're just gorgeous. We also perhaps would like to suggest putting this skate park at Saluda Shoals. I don't know if that's an option. That's 400 acres. And another option might be the 116 acres that was donated by Michael Mungo. We don't want to put it in anybody's backyard. We don't want to put it in the community park because that would be putting it in somebody else's backyard. We want everyone to be able, that wants to use a skate park, to be able to use it, but we want it insulated where it's insulated from people's homes. So thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Ms. May. Mr. Clint Davis. Are you here? There you go. Mr. Clint Davis, you wanted to address council.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
And I'm sorry, thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I live, Bree's neighbor
on Elsto Road. It's 236 Elsto. Also, my property backs up to the tennis courts, or what formerly were the tennis courts. And when I've lived there for 20 years. When I first bought the property, looked at buying the property out here, I spent a lot of time in the area because I wanted a quiet residential neighborhood to live in. So I spent time at the tennis courts, which at that point in time, Richland County took care of because they were being used quite often on Saturday mornings for tennis tournaments. I've had neighbors who are friends who lived in Cornerstone who actually had to stop using them because just they weren't being taken care of. And that's a shame because they like tennis. So my problem is with just the location. Again, like many people have said, is just the location of the skate park. Dropping it into the middle of a quiet neighborhood, I don't think is a really good idea. As you all know, if you live in Friarsgate, there's really only 3 ways to get in and out of Friarsgate. One is through Chatford, the other is out Irmo Drive, Friarsgate down to Irmo Drive, the other is Royal Tower. That intersection already at Friarsgate and Royal Tower is just a horrendous intersection anyway, with a stoplight and just the way it's designed. So having a new skate park, is going to draw a whole lot more people from not only the Irmo area, but Columbia, Newberry, Chapin, Lexington. They're all going to be coming over to try out the new skate park. It's going to cause a whole lot more traffic and just a whole lot more road noise. And so that's really my main concern, is just the traffic. And if you're living in the Cornerstone neighborhood, you're really going to be backed up right to the skate park area. And so it is literally going to be in their backyard. Not necessarily mine, because I do have that tree barrier in between, which I really appreciate. That's why I bought the property. No one was going to be building in my backyard. And so that's, I know people look at the Owens Field one. Maggie just brought that up. It is really isolated. It's hundreds of yards from homes. And so that's just my biggest concern. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. Is there anybody else to address council on agenda items only? Nobody else? Okay, we'll move on then. Unfinished business, we have none. New business, first reading of ordinance 2102 to rezone the property from PDD to general commercial. We had that public hearing earlier. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Mr. Sickinger, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Danielson? All right. Mr. Sickinger?
I like it when I agree with the planning commission. I am in favor. It certainly looks like it should be general commercial anyway. And I try to make a decision on rezoning absent the information of what business is going to go in there. Because I think we should just do it on the merits of the zone change itself. But I'm even more enthusiastic about that change, knowing what might be going in that location. So I'm in favor.
Thank you. Mr. Danielson?
Yeah, I seconded so that we could have this discussion. I love the idea of a grocery store. Don't know who it is, but if I knew who it was, it might help sway me. But the bottom line is the traffic is going to be a nightmare. I've been in the real estate game a long time, and the egress of this site is going to cause issues. I don't know how we solve them. If you've ever tried to come out of Farming Creek at 5 o'clock at night and you want to go left, you're not going. You want to get out of this grocery store and you want to go left at 5 o'clock at night, you're not going. So that's my concern. I love the idea of it being commercial. It should be commercial, but I think we need to take in consideration what that's going to do to traffic, and I'll leave that to people that are a lot smarter than I am as far as engineering is concerned.
I might defer to to Councilman Bush with his expertise, but I think it's an issue, and I think we have to address it on the front end.
Cool. Mr. Bush?
I absolutely concur with Mr. Danielson. I live on this road, and I know what that traffic looks like. And unfortunately, this should be zoned commercial. There's no doubt in my mind. But we have kicked the can so far down the road with these interchanges and these roads that adding one more thing is just, you know, and I'm looking at the drawing, and it's very nice, but my concern is that we're not going to fix the Farming Creek Road and the Coon Road intersection to allow this to happen, right? That's not going to happen. And we're going to continue to have left-hand turn wrecks out there, and it's going to get worse. Like you said, there's a traffic light here, no traffic light there, and we just keep kicking the can down the road, and I don't know when are we going to stop. And like I said, I'm all in favor of this being commercial, but I also, at the same time, I've just spent time. Mr. Brown and I have worked for over a year trying to get DOT to do one engineering drawing to fix one road that should have been fixed a decade ago. And that's where I'm at. That's all I've got.
Thank you.
Maybe, Mr. Mayor, if I can.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bush, Mr. Danielson?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe if we can get the developer to tell us what his ideas are and how they plan on mitigating the traffic, if there is anything that they've even thought about. They had to have thought about the ingress and egress of that site.
All right, hold on a second. Mrs. Condon.
I'd be anxious to hear what he has to say too. This is obviously commercial property. It's in the 20-year plan and the 10-year and everything else that this is a commercial corridor. I didn't know it was a grocery store either, but it's hard to turn that down. But traffic would be the only concern I'd have, because I'm sure a grocery store would do well there. But I don't know how to solve the traffic. I hope you do.
Okay. Hold on a second. Let me say my 2 cents, and then I'll call you up. I agree with council that is going to be an issue. Traffic is going to be an issue. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bob, didn't DOT have the plans to widen Broad River Road from Royal Tower all the way up to, I guess, Cademan's Creek to widen that road?
All the way up to Broad River Road, where it branches off in front of Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Okay, so way up to Chick-fil-A, so they even passed there. Okay.
And Mr. Mayor, I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn because I'm sure the developer will get up here, but the way they explained it at the Planning Commission, they weren't planning on building until the road got widened.
Oh, okay.
Can we get that in writing?
So if the road doesn't ever get widened, they'll just have it zone commercial.
Well, I can't answer that, but I mean, if we change the zoning, it'll still be changed. But it may be sold to somebody else.
Okay.
It doesn't look like it's going to be widened anytime soon.
Yeah, I know. That's okay. Well,
Was this the penny tax road?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they lost the penny, didn't they?
Yeah, it fell through the cracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they got part of that rescue money too, so now maybe
Well,
back
they
on the
might be
board.
able,
You know.
yeah.
Okay, any other comments from council? Mr. Developer, you've heard the concerns of council. Did you want to address us about that? Okay, thank you.
The access that you see here on this drawing was given to us by the SCDOT. This was not something that our engineer created himself. We took the project to the district office of DOT and asked them where we would be allowed access points, and this is where they gave us the access point. So we're kind of at their mercy. I mean, this is where they told us that we had to be, and so we had to work the site plan around around the access points in which they told us where they were going to allow them, and in which way they were going to allow them.
Okay,
I was about to say, I wish we created them, but we didn't have a whole lot of influence over them.
okay. All right. Any more comments from council? I'd like to add then, I mean, we're at the mercy of DOT and I guess it's Richland County, right? That, the project? But hopefully with our relationship that we've built up with Richland County, we can kind of get that whole widening project put back on the drawing board with the windfall that they're about to get from this rescue plan as far as for infrastructure. Again, Kelly, you know how that works with negotiating with councils and other municipalities. And Bill, I'm sure you're familiar with the impact. But again, we shouldn't let stuff like this stop us from growing our town. I mean, we need more revenue. We need more grocery stores. Whoever it is, you know, I think it's a 10-acre spot, 10-acre land that they're talking about changing. So
That's correct. Only rezoning 10 of the 60 acres.
yeah, so I don't know. I don't see anything that will stop us from doing it. I mean, but hopefully we can lend our assistance to get them to move forward, Richland County and DOT if it's necessary to move forward with widening the road. So we can get this project, you know, from paper to shovel. Any other comments? Okay, clerk, read the roll, please.
Mr. Bush?
Nay.
Ms. Condom?
Yay.
Mr. Danielson?
Yay.
Mr. Sickinger?
Yes.
Mayor Walker?
Yes. Thank you very much. Approval of Resolution 2021-01, honoring Dr. Trip Jones for his many years of support towards the town of Irmo. Ms. Condom, you put that on the agenda.
I did.
Is there a motion for approval of resolution?
Oh, I moved that.
Okay. Ms. Condom and Mr. Danielson. Ms. Condom.
I met Dr. Jones, or rather his wife, in December of '89, and some of you probably weren't even born then, but that's when we met, and we all were mad at the same people. And we formed an alliance to help the town of Irmo. It's when they annexed the land that Columbiana Mall now sits on. It was a long fight. I'm sorry Jake's not here tonight. We're glad to have you, but Jake was one of our leaders at that time, just as he's helping us now. But Dr. Jones and his wife were fully involved in every facet of that. And he's been fighting for Irmo ever since. He made sure that the day hospital was up to date during his tenure on the board. I don't know anything bad about the man. They've endowed a scholarship at Clemson for Lexington County young people in the field of biology. And I think that's a significant accomplishment. And the orchestra, who was in dire need of money a few years ago, Dr. Jones and the board agreed to give us $35,000 a year. And they've done that for almost 20 years. That's a lot of money, y'all. And the only way I could think to thank him was this resolution, which states all of that. So I think he should be recognized. He goes off as chairman this month, and I'm glad we had the opportunity to honor him.
Thank you. Mr. Danielson.
This is going to be rough. I first met Dr. Jones almost 30 years ago. And I met him under a very trying circumstance. My wife had breast cancer. We were fairly new to the area. We had no family here. And she was in rough shape, and he took care of her. And no matter what he will say, he single-handedly saved my wife's life. I believe that in my heart. I will always believe that in my heart. She's almost a 30-year cancer survivor, and a wonderful woman who has taken care of me during my cancer in this last year. And the first person I called when I got the nasty, I'm at a loss for words, but when I was told I had cancer, first person I called was Dr. Jones. And you, sir, expedited my treatment with the best of people, the best doctors. I've always wondered why people have to run to Duke and Emory and all sorts of places when we have some of the greatest doctors you could ever imagine. And I put him there as one of those. But I'll forever be indebted to him. I remember this day, I wrote him a long letter about a year after her survival, and I still feel the same way, Tripp. You're a wonderful man. Thank you, sir.
Here, here. Mr. Sickinger?
That's tough to follow. I don't have nearly the same level of connection with Dr. Tripp Jones, but certainly heard the name from the day I moved here, and the impact that he has made in the town, and election medical as well. It's almost synonymous with Irmo, so I certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Bush?
I'm going to keep it short because I'd be excited to get you up here and give you this plaque. So, thank you.
And I will, as the mayor, let's meet down forward here on the floor and. Huh?
We got to vote.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We got to vote on this. I'm so excited about it. Will the clerk read the roll, please?
Mr. Bush.
Yay.
Ms. Condom.
Yay.
Mr. Danielson.
Yay.
Mr. Sickinger.
Yes.
Mayor Walker.
Absolutely. Thank you. Come on down. Meet me down front. All right. Mr. Jones, would you come back up here, please? You going to read this one for me? I'll read it. Okay. So I don't hyperventilate. Yeah, right.
You can do that. I hope no CPR here tonight.
Thank you.
Whereas Dr. Tripp Jones, as a member and recent chairman of Lexington Medical Board of Trustees, has worked hard for the past 20 years to procure much-needed funding for the town's annual orchestra. Dr. Jones has been instrumental in maintaining the operational status of the Irmo Day Hospital prior to and during the current pandemic. Whereas Tripp Jones has established a scholarship program at Clemson University for students majoring in biology in Lexington County. Be it resolved, the town of Irmo recognizes the professionalism of Dr. Jones as a renowned oncologist throughout the Midlands who has brought respect, honor, and integrity to his chosen field and has been a champion of Irmo causes with his unwavering commitments, willingness, and ability to understand and work towards acceptable solutions. This is given with good spirit from the town of Irmo.
This is truly an honor, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I remember from the days that the Vipers were fighting against the city of Columbia, and there was a gap. There was a 6-foot gap, and we still ought to be fighting it. But anyway, that's another story. But we appreciate all of what Irmo does. When I'm asked, "Where are you from?" I'll say Irmo. And even though we don't live in the town and can't vote, we're from Irmo, and we're proud of it, and always will be. And I appreciate this so much. I appreciate your comments, everyone's comments, and you try to do therapy and treat somebody. You may have never heard the term of your mama therapy. What would you do if it's your mama?
Mm-hmm.
You can do that. You can ask a nurse, or what would you do if this is your child? Remember that next time that you have a question that you want to ask a physician. What would you do if it's your family? So just remember all that, and I appreciate this so much, y'all. Thank you.
Dr. Jones, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Council. Oh. All right. Next on the agenda is approval of the contract with Hybrid Engineering in the amount of $29,957. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second it. Mr. Sickinger.
Yeah, this is a feasibility study, and I'm in favor because I believe that we need to continue to go down that path. We are not pulling that trigger on the purchase of blue granite, but the situation as it is untenable, and the future of the town depends on the ability of its residents to be able to afford to live in their homes without paying hundreds of dollars to their sewer system.
Thank you. And I'd like to add that, as you know, Blue Granite Water Company has the sewer contract or the sewer services for the new Friarsgate subdivision. Approximately 1,500 homes they service every month with a fixed price contract or fixed price billing of $85 per month per home. They're in the process of doing some renovations that they haven't touched in 20 years or so, or how long? 50 years they've been in working on this thing, and now they're actually been forced to do some work to fix this sewer system. In the process of doing that, they are continually trying to raise the rates of the citizens out there. And on the surface, you would say paying $85 a month for a family of 6 people that has a bunch of teenagers who take baths and wash clothes on a regular basis, have a $200 water bill, $85 is not a big deal. But what happens is with Grandma Susie, who has a $20 water bill and an $85 sewer bill, that's just straight up evil. And we've asked them to give us what we call volumetric billing. In the PSC rate increase that they got last year, they were asked to investigate doing that. They, to our knowledge, or to my knowledge, they haven't done it as of yet, but we need to get them to look at that and to implement that on a short-term basis. The only way I can see us doing this is if the town of Irmo buys the system from Blue Granite, make that motion to do that, and to find out what that system is worth, what kind of maintenance requirements that they have going on right now, if they're completed, what it's going to cost to complete that. And the only way we're going to be able to find that out is if we put out a study or have an engineer put out a request, and that's what we're talking about tonight, to do a system study on the acquisition of this Blue Granite sewer system in the town of Irmo system. $30,000 is a lot of money, but we just got a windfall of $4.66 million. We are serious about taking over the Blue Granite system, either friendly or hostily, but we want to acquire that system. I hope that the council will join me and agree with me that we need to get this study so we can figure out what Blue Granite has to offer, or what they think the value, what we think the value is, and then approach them with an offer, and hopefully they will either accept it or negotiate with us. Mr. Bush?
I'm also in favor of the study, but in light of this new information with that grant or the funding from the COVID, I'd like to make a motion to table it until we're able to, I'm fully in favor of this, but to table it and kind of put it off just until we start to receive those funds and understand exactly what those funds can be used for. So I make that motion
Defer.
to defer.
Okay. All right. Well, Mr. Bush made a motion to defer. Is there any discussion on the motion? Is there first, is there a second? Is there a second? You seconded, Bill?
I'll second it.
Okay, good. Mr. Bush second. Mr. Danielson second Mr. Bush's deferment. Mr. Danielson.
I think Councilman Bush is in my head. I'm fully supportive of the attempt that we're trying to do here. If it wasn't for this windfall that's coming, I'm not sure I would vote for spending $30,000 right now, because I think and I hope I'm proven to be wrong, but I believe that Blue Granite's going to make a sale untenable for us. I just have that feeling. You used the word evil. I wouldn't go quite that far, but I would say that their actions to date have shown that they won't be any easier to negotiate with when the time comes. And I certainly don't want to go down a rabbit hole that could really put a financial slam on the town of Irmo. So I'm with that deferral at this point. Hopefully, is it Hybrid Engineering? Hopefully they can hold their price for another month or two, whatever it takes, because I too am concerned about, I've already had calls that we're going to go crazy and start spending money. I don't want to do that. It's the last thing I want to do. And B, I think we need to understand exactly what we can spend that money on. I mean, we've talked about infrastructure, but what I've read doesn't say we can do highway and road infrastructure. So, whether we can find a loop there, it says broadband infrastructure is how I've read it. So, again, I'd like to really be clear on where we can put that money. So that's why I'm seconding, and I'm sorry I'm long-winded.
Mr. Sickinger.
So I certainly appreciate the motion there to make sure we have a clear understanding of the law that was passed, the bill, and the item in as it pertains is number 4: make necessary investments in water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure, and it certainly sounds like a necessary investment in sewer. I think the question is, how is that interpreted? Although I do want to make it clear that without the expenditure of these funds from the Fed, from Congress and the President, Senate as well, either we spend it or it goes back. So just to make that clear. So if it's money that's been allocated to the town, to be clear going forward, we should spend every dollar that we can, because otherwise the state's going to get it, or it's going to go back to the federal government, and then they're going to use it on studying sea turtle migration, in Florida or something. So I'd love for the town residents to have that. Yeah, the bill itself does literally say necessary investments in water and sewer. But I understand, and, I appreciate the council's support generally.
Ms. Condon.
I think everybody knows I'm against this, but I'm certainly not against trying to lower the price for everyone. It should not be a uniform rate, but nevertheless, this study should be done. We need to know what we're getting into. Mm-hmm. And this is probably the only way. And our citizens here need to know this was done by state bid, and Hybrid Engineering got the bid as the low bidder, and they're on Irmo Drive. So I'm grateful it's an Irmo company, and we certainly trust them. But we need to know how bad it could be.
Right.
So I'm in favor of this, but if you want to defer it, I understand that too. And
Councilman Bush, I appreciate your motion, and I understand your concerns. And Councilman Danielson, I understand you're seconding his motion, what your concerns are. And you're absolutely right. To spend that $30,000 is a lot of money to spend to find out what it's going to cost us what we're getting into. But if we don't spend it now, we spend it 6 months from now, we're still gonna spend it to figure out what we're getting into. And that's where we are today. I wanna know what exactly Blue Granite has repaired, what exactly they have to repair, and what exactly the valuation is on that sewer system. Is it hypothetically $2 million, $3 million, whatever that number is, we're gonna get that from Highbird, and we're gonna be presented with that. We don't have to act on it, but at least we're getting it back to know that we're gonna get into a accusation that's gonna cost the town several $millions. Now, once we have that information, again, we don't have to act on it, but now we know that we can offer whatever to Blue Granite. Blue Granite can say, go fish, go kick rocks, whatever. You're right, they're gonna have to negotiate with them, and it might be difficult. But at least we know that we have a valuation from a credible engineering company that says that this system is worth X number of dollars. And this system has X number of dollars of repairs that need to be made to it in order to maintain it. And we understand from the relationship with the City of Columbia and Blue Granite, all they're doing is simply passing through, collecting the money, passing the sewage to the City of Columbia, and they are actually doing the treatment of it. You know, we certainly can do that also as the town of Irmo. So it's my 2 cents, and we are voting on the amendment. Will the clerk read the roll for the amendment, please?
Mr. Bush.
Deferral.
Yay.
Ms. Condom,
Yay.
Mr. Danielson,
Yay.
Mr. Sickinger,
No.
and Mayor Walker.
No. What is the date for the deferral?
Deferral, I would say defer it till we find out about this money coming, what the details and when the money, when it will actually, I'm not in favor of spending money that we haven't gotten yet.
I understand.
So when it gets in, and we can talk about extending this, I think it's a 30-day, and see if we get extension. But just defer it till.
Do we have to have a date certain?
Yes, sir. To defer it, you have to defer it to a date. And I did talk to Hybrid. They said they would hold the price till 21 April, which is the day after our next council meeting.
Day after?
Correct. And if we don't make a decision, then we'll have to rebid it.
Okay.
So
Then make that the date,
21 April?
21 April.
All right.
Or 20.
20th of April. Okay. All right. So at that, we will put it back on the agenda for the 20th of April. By that time, we'll know the ins and outs of that.
Details, where it's coming.
Right.
What we can spend it on exactly. I mean,
Well-
it just may be.
Right.
Well, I guess the question is, this will come out of our general fund. Can you put money back in your general fund? Anyway, we don't.
Yeah, those are all questions.
Well, we'll know by then. I think we'll know.
And just point of clarification, Mayor, it was an RFP that happened, not a state contract, just for transparency.
Oh, what?
RFP.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, everybody all right with that? Thank you very much. Let me see. The next is the approval to submit a police radio grant to the Department of Public Safety for the amount of $187,200. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Sickinger and Mr. Bush. Mr. Sickinger.
Yeah, I'm in favor. This is a 90-10 grant, and the radios have to be upgraded, so it's kind of a necessary expense. It is what it is.
Great. Mr. Bush.
I'll go with what Eric said. I think we need the radios. We're definitely behind on our radio technology, so.
Okay. Thank you. Mrs. Danielson.
I'm good with it. Anything for this Irmo PD. We're
Thank
gonna
you.
have it.
Ms. Condon.
You can't beat a 90-10 grant. So I'm in favor.
Okay. All right, and I concur with all council. Will the clerk read the roll, please?
Mr. Bush?
Yay.
Ms. Condom?
Yay.
Mr. Danielson?
Yay.
Mr. Sickinger?
Yes.
And Mayor Walker?
Yay. It's unanimous. Thank you. Approval of the proposed state park plan. We have all received these plans electronically. Have everybody had an opportunity to look at it? The skate park plan? Are there any questions about that? Well, let me make a motion first to approve the proposed plan. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Okay, Mr. Sickinger, do you have any questions about the proposed plans?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Thank you for
and
the
would you
Why,
like,
yes, I do.
would you like the members of that committee to come here to answer?
If they wouldn't mind, yeah.
All right.
I'm trying
Will
to
the
pull
members
up
of
that.
the skate park committee, please come to the podium so we can ask you any questions that we might have. Thank you very much. And you are Mr. Curtin?
Robert Carton.
Carton and Mr.
Johnny Ridenour.
Rindauer. Thank you.
So my first question is the proposed location.
Do you have that on the, Renee, do you have the plans?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So I think if we go to 6 and 7, also, yeah, 6 and 7 probably shows it best. But where is the? Because we heard a lot from some folks on Elstow tonight, and so I was curious the proposed location of the skate park as it pertains to the parcel itself. It looks to me like the proposed location is in the back of the current tennis courts, over out by the railroad tracks, kind of. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. The drawings in here aren't indicative of the actual location. These are just, more hypothetical, like different layouts that we could have. Obviously, there's not the parking lots right there, and we're not coming and clear cutting. I think the neighbors with their backyards, there's still going to be a tree barrier between where they are and the park. The park will be more in the middle of that area, and we'll back up towards the train tracks.
But just to clarify that the proposed location would be kind of centered or somewhat like that,
Right.
towards the back of that
Correct.
park
Yeah,
area.
up against the train tracks on the other side of the tennis courts from the parking lot.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I appreciate your presentation. Is there anything that you want to add? I think on the last page, you have the budget that you suspect. Page 10?
Yeah.
Right.
So we have a budget, and this is from a Spone skate park. We've worked with a couple different skate park builders.
Can you talk into the microphone? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. So we've got this budget from Spone Ranch Skate Parks. We've spoken with several different skate park builders, and there's two that have done work in small towns in South Carolina, which is why we've used Spone Ranch in this layout. Obviously, once it goes, we go to bid. This would have to go out to bid, and they would be one of the vendors that would bid on it, along with Fifth Pocket. So there's multiple people that want to come. And then as far as fundraising, we have our fundraiser chair has been super motivated and super helpful, and she was the one who was able to get this information from the skate park place. The Tony Hawk Foundation has already committed to $10,000 to help us get underway. And on top of that, just the outreach from the community in general has been super encouraging. And I know this is the fourth time in a row that I've met with you guys, and I just wanted to say thanks for your time, and I've enjoyed getting to see how council works and how local government operates. It's been a unique experience for sure.
Okay, that's $350,000 that you're estimating this parking cost?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
That's correct? And you got a commitment so far for $10,000 from
That's right.
some people?
Yes, sir.
So you're $340,000 away from your goal.
That's right. And we have not started fundraising. Now, we have partnered with Bridge to Skate, who is a nonprofit who actually has worked with Spone Ranch in the past for fundraising. But until We have just gotten, our verbal commitment from the one nonprofit group, the Tony Hawk Foundation, but we have not begun our fundraising initiative, obviously without approval from the council to move forward with a given location to start getting bids. We didn't want to start bringing any money in because,
Of course not.
if it didn't get approved, what do we do with it? So,
Correct.
like I said, our committee chair for fundraising is super motivated, and right now I'm just kind of holding her back, saying, hold tight. When we get approval, then we can start fundraising activities. But correct, we have not started raising any other money at this time.
She's looked into a few different
You got to
grants.
speak into the mic, I'm sorry.
She's looked into a few different grants. She's made progress with that, so I believe we can bring in some money that way and through some fundraisers. We've worked with Blue Tile. They're willing to work with us. I think Van, she's talked to fans. So we've got some ways to raise money. We just need to go ahead to do it.
Yeah,
Now-
we do feel confident that we can raise that amount of money.
Okay, now you heard the concerns of some of the citizens tonight.
Yes, sir.
Um,
We'd be happy to talk with anybody after the meeting, or they can reach out to us. We can give our contact, and, we can address those concerns.
But I'm saying, but you understand the concerns, I think most of them is noise.
Right, and when we met last month in the February meeting, we did present some evidence about the common noise, the decibel levels that skate park creates. It's certainly not an unreasonable level. We don't feel like. I also want to ensure the citizens of the neighborhood, we are not coming and clear cutting all the trees. There will be a tree barrier between their homes and the skate park, and it appears that the skate park will generate about 15% of the noise level that the train tracks do. That's going to be right next to our skate park as well.
Okay. All right, Mr. Danielson.
First thing I want to tell you is I enjoy knowing your brother.
Thank you.
He's been good friends with my daughter. Came to my daughter's wedding in Texas.
Yeah.
So he's a cool cat, so I like that. That doesn't mean I'm going to approve your skate park. But, obviously the citizens are concerned. There's quite a few of them. I certainly don't blame them. One of them asked me in an email and in the last week or so, would you want it in your backyard? Assume you're voting to put it in your own backyard. That gives me cause for concern, just from the noise and the activity and traffic and parking and all of that stuff. I certainly think we could use a skate park, and I think this is probably the best avenue. I'm not sold yet, but I'm not sold. I'm still in the same position, so.
We really do believe that it's going to have a huge positive impact on this neighborhood. We've gotten, we've had hundreds of people reach out. It's been really encouraging. You're right, I was not fully prepared to have objections here, and I certainly didn't want to bring 100 people to the meeting to back up, but we do have tons of testimonials of people who want to be there. And we have gotten a lot of people that have asked us why Friars Gate, and I've gotten a lot of feedback of people that are worried, like, why would you put in Friars Gate, that the neighborhood is slipping away into a negative state, and we're really hoping that it can turn around. I've known a lot of people. My babysitter growing up lived in Friars Gate, so I've spent a lot of time in the area. I care a lot about the neighborhood, and I really think that we can make a positive economic impact with this. The traffic coming into the businesses that are around it, I don't think that there's going to be a lot of negative noise. I know that there's complaints about homeless people. Obviously, when we come in and do construction and build a brand new park, with the traffic there, that's just going to deter the homeless. That's going to help us deter the homeless people away from that location as well. So we really feel confident that it's going to help drive the home values up and help, bring new youth into the neighborhood. And the existing youth, it's going to give them a positive place to go outside and engage with other people, socially distance, and, get some exercise. Let's let these kids in Friars Gate put the phones down, get out and play outside, and that's what we're here to do.
Mr. Bush.
Yeah, I'm generally in support of a skate park. We do have the residents' concerns. And one thing I haven't seen yet is a plat of that park with the situation, how it would be situated in that parcel.
Right, and we need to get surveys done, and that's certainly part of our budget. But again, I can't, raise $30,000 to get the drawings and get the people's bids in and show exactly where it's going to go without that approvals going forward. So we're kind of at a crossroads. If we get the approvals, we move forward, raise some money, get some drawings, get some bids in, and get a real survey of where it's going to go. That's our obvious next step. So, if we get approval to get underway, that's what we'd be doing. And then the next meeting, which obviously I know you guys love having us back up here. So, we'd like to get approvals and come back in a couple months with those bids, with the drawings, where it's going to go, and go from there. So that's what we're looking for today.
Okay.
Ms. Condon?
Do y'all live in Irmo?
Cut your mic on.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I haven't heard from anyone who backs up to this or who's in the immediate vicinity who's in favor of it. I've heard from a lot of people that aren't. I'm gonna be a hard sell on this, because I think there is some danger inherent in it, and I know you dispute that, but we've all seen it on TV, so it looks somewhat dangerous. But I have to say, I'm in with the neighbors and the people who back up to, because it could certainly affect their value, the home value.
Mm-hmm.
But you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
So.
Okay, and is there any more comments? I'd like to just add that, we're trying to get kids away from Facebook, away from TikTok, in front of their phones, outside and playing. And at least I did when I was growing up, and that was back in the 1800s. We had bicycles, we had outdoor activities. Mom told me go outside and play and come back before the dark hit that light pole. To have a skate park in my backyard, I would have loved it if I lived in Friars Gate, because I know that my house would be that much more valuable to a young family coming through and saying, hey, I want to buy this house, and in your backyard is a park. We had the same thing when we built the community park. You remember that?
Yeah.
People were saying how devastating it would be to their property values, and how we'll have drug fights and shootouts and stuff. I think the chief can back me up and say we haven't had any drug shootouts in the community park. In fact, we have the orchestra there once a year, and that was probably the loudest thing that goes on. That park is used on a regular basis more than any other facility we have in Irmo. So to have a skate park, to have a dog park, to have a community garden, all in the same area, all being funded by entities like these gentlemen and their committee, from Ms. Brundage and her folks, from the AKAs and the community garden. Those folks have come to us with plans and designs and budgets saying, hey, this is what it's going to cost. We're going to get in the weeds and raise this money that we need to build this. It's not going to be left to the town council to, okay, we want a skate park, we got to put in our budget $350,000 to build it. No, they're saying we're going to do our part and raise the money. And assuredly, all they're asking us to do is provide the infrastructure, the land, the water, the bathrooms, the parking, the things that we need to have in a park. And I am cognizant of the residents. I understand the residents' concerns, but Irmo, and like Mr. Carton said, why would you put it in Friars Gate? Well, he's kind of right. We're trying to resurrect Friars Gate from the negative attitude that people have. The people are saying it's going downhill. It's nothing but renters out there. Well, to have a facility that's a jewel of the community, that's an icon in the community, something that's going to bring that Friars Gate up, this is one of the features, this is one of the amenities that can do it. And I think tonight we need to give them a vote of, yes, go forward and go ahead and get your plans and raise the money, because we're gonna back you as far as the infrastructure is concerned. If they don't ever fully raise the money to do it, then we'll have to talk about that. But I think we're on the right track. Councilman Sickinger?
Could you tell I had something to say? So just to clarify on what the motion is in front of the council.
Right.
It is an approval, it's just another small step in this plan, of approval of this proposed plan that's been sent to us. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I just want to say, and I know the meeting's running long, so I apologize, but I just want to, as a resident of Friars Gate, I want to make a defense of Friars Gate, and that is, it is beautiful, it's wonderful, it's a great place to call home.
Thank you. Mr. Danielson?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I believe I have one concern. We want a skate park, we want a dog park, and we have a community garden, correct? Mm-hmm. But yet we don't have a master plan surveyed out for any of that on this property. And I mentioned this a month ago to you guys, and I guess it fell on deaf ears. As a real estate developer and have developed real estate, you have to spend money to do your due diligence. I'm not sure that even that would be the thing for you to do right now, simply because we don't know where the dog park and the community garden's going. We need a master plan surveyed out, and somebody has to take that cost on. And if that's going to be us, then then the town needs to get on it and get the property surveyed. We need to figure out where you guys are going to go. You don't know where to put that. Technically, you could put it right in the middle, and then the other two, the dog park and the gardens, could be all discombobulated. So that's a technical term, by the way. But that's my concern. I think we have to have a master plan for that. Where are those three things going? And how much is the infrastructure going to be to do that? And I think it would naturally fall upon the town to do the master plan. I would think, unless the three entities got together and did it and spent the money, which I would prefer. But it's hard to. Yeah, I'm in favor for them to take the next step, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be in favor of the whole thing. And I think we don't need to put the cart before the horse. Who's going to do that? How are we going to know where anything's going?
Let me give you a little bit of background. As you know, the tennis courts were already there, and there were 2 tennis court pads. Both of those tennis court pads have been demolished, and what we propose is to put the front tennis court as a dog park and the back tennis court as the community garden. And that's what those ladies, the AKAs, have gone with as far as developing a plan at the blueprint that they presented to us. That's what the dog park people have gone with and presented as a blueprint of where the dog park amenities will go. And what Mr. Carton and what I understand Mr. Rendauer has proposed is behind the community garden where those woods are, that wood tree line, in between that and the train tracks is where the skate park would go. And they haven't sat down and given us detailed blueprints, and we haven't committed to doing the infrastructure yet because we are in the process of getting that funding together. But I think it became onus on us as a town to provide the infrastructure, meaning the water, the bathroom, the parking, and the actual grading of both of those pads for the dog park and the community garden, and possibly for the skate park if we agree to put it in. That's where we were. And so,
well, if we've
as far as a master plan,
yeah,
that's what
I get that. But my question is, let's go back, and that's what triggered my whole thought process again, is why are we limiting if we've got how many acres out there? 9? 6, 9?
About 9.8.
9.8, so we had almost 10 acres out there. why are we limiting the dog park to the size of a tennis court? It makes no sense to me. I mean, we should, there needs to be more thought into what we're doing and how much property we're going to allow for these entities to exist and to exist in harmony without being on top of each other.
And I agree.
Just my concern.
And I agree, Councilman Danielson. So the onus is going to be on us to provide the infrastructure. So we're going to have to apply for a PARD grant, which is what we're going to do. If we have in that PARD grant, when we apply for it, I think it's $500,000 we're going for, 500,000, something like that, Bob.
That's what we were projecting. I mean, there's no limit on what we can ask for.
Oh, okay. Well, my point is this, is that if we're going to provide the infrastructure, the water, the grading of the 2 pads, 3 pads, if we're going to provide that, we can decide where the location of each one of these amenities will go.
So why don't we just decide tonight that we're going to do the survey of the property and have them laid out, have them just laid out as a tentative site?
Well, it's not an action item on here
That's
now, but we're telling them if they want to go forward to go ahead and develop the actual layout, we need to give them a kind of a sense of we agree for them to go forward, whereas we'll have that infrastructure laid out as a part of our to-do list. I mean, is that understandable, or what I'm saying?
Well, that's my point. That's part of the infrastructure, a survey of the property and laying it out as part of infrastructure. That's all I'm saying. I mean, we can approve it, but there's so much more to do. And I think to be fair to these guys, who's gonna bear the cost of their layout and their survey? That's all I'm saying.
Well, for the infrastructure or for the actual amenity?
Both.
Okay, the amenity is them. The infrastructure, I believe, is us.
Right, but we place the amenity on the survey so we know where it sits. And therefore, we put the community garden where we know where it sits, and then we would have room for the dog park where we know where that sits.
Right.
And I don't think we need to limit is the dog park lady still here? I don't know. I don't know that we need to limit it to a half an acre. That's crazy. Dog park could be 2 acres. Who knows?
We got 10 to play with.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying.
I got you.
A master plan would be great. And if we're going to do it, let's do it right.
I'm with you.
That's valid.
Ms. Condon?
Yeah. He's right. We should have done that, and I guess there's still time.
Well, you said that we need to get that PARD grant submitted before we do anything, as
Yeah.
opposed to what we did last time when we built the community park, and I agree with you on that. If we have an opportunity to get 500,000 or whatever the amount is that we're gonna go for, we need to have an idea to submit to the PARD grant people. This is what we're looking for. And that's why we're at right now. We don't have a master plan yet. But I think that once we get that submitted and we get approval on a PARD grant for the development, we will have a master plan. Or we can spend the money to do the master plan.
We'll have to have a master plan to submit the grant, but as I've said before, we're just still putting the cart before the horse because we can't do anything until we get the agreement signed from Richland County allowing us to put all the amenities there.
Right, and we got that in verbally now. We'll have that in writing by the end of the week.
So we have something in writing, then we're allowed to put in for the grant, and then, yes, we should have some kind of master plan, and we'll decide where everything goes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Bush?
I don't know if I'm having deja vu, but I feel like this has been on the agenda like 2 or 3 times now. And so we actually did approve this a while back, I think, and now we're approving it again.
The what now?
To go forward with the skate park.
Well,
And-
no, we approved them to.
Approved something. We approved the approval of the, I don't know what we approved, but they were here before doing the same thing, and we approved something. So I concur with Bill. I seriously think, and I cannot believe that Richland County doesn't happen to have a plat on file of what they actually have over there, because that park's been there for, I don't know, 40 years. So I think there's a plat on file. Nobody has to go out and survey it. You just need to go get a copy of the plat, and we mentioned that the last time. And so we keep revisiting it. I'm fine with them going forward with anything, but as Bill said, we need a plat and we need to know where we're putting things. And we need the signatures from Richland County saying we can do this. And then we can move forward.
Well, we got signatures, we got approval from Richland County as a verbal Richland approval.
I heard 2
We'll
weeks
have-
ago we had a verbal.
Beg your pardon?
I heard somebody say 2 weeks ago we had a verbal, so I
We
didn't-
do. We have a verbal. We'll have it written by the end of the week. What's today? Tuesday. By the end of the week, we'll have a written approval to put the skate park in as an added amenity. We already had approval for the dog park and the community garden. We're just adding that skate park.
Okay.
We'll have that written approval by the end of the week. Now, once we have that, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, we could submit the PROD grant based on the fact that we're gonna have those three amenities in that park, and we'll come up with that infrastructure.
That's correct, but I mean, at that point in time, I'll put together something with Renee, and we'll have walking trails, we'll expand the driveway, we'll have the parking lot, we'll have to put gates up, we'll put a bathroom out there, we'll dig a well, make the dog park and the community gardens where we want it will fit, and then, of course,
Right.
whatever's left over for the skate park. Now, we know we got 10 acres to play with.
So,
And the buffer that we have to leave around the house.
Right.
20-foot buffer is required, but we'll lay the plan out, and I agree, I've already talked to Richland County, they do have a plat, but, it's 30 years old, still, it's gonna show everything. But
So
there's
you-
no reason, I wasn't moving forward on anything until I got something in writing from Richland County.
right, and you'll have that by the end of the week. Mr. Jameson, does that satisfy you?
Yes, it does, and the other reason for that is to if this does go forward, is to try to and make a best effort to appease the homeowners, which we should, and we need to know exactly how deep we can make that buffer. We need to make it as deep as possible and as wooded as possible, and still effectively use the 10 acres. That's all I'm
Correct.
saying.
And I appreciate that and I agree with it. Any more comments? Seeing none, will the clerk read the roll for approval of that skate park plan
Mr. Bush,
that they
Yay.
submitted?
Ms. Condom,
Nay.
Mr. Danielson,
Yay.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
Mayor Walker.
Yes. What was your vote, Mr. Bush?
Nay.
Yes? Okay, thank you. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Can I leave this with y'all?
Thank you, council, for that spirited discussion. At this point, we are a presentation from citizens on anything that you've heard tonight or anything you want the council to know about. I invite you to come up to the podium and speak to us. Give us your name, your address. Understand that you have a 3-minute time limit, and I'm sorry for the length of the council meeting tonight, but we've had a lot of stuff to go over.
Hello, Council. I'm Wade Deloach, 156 Finsbury Road. I'd like to thank Council tonight for the support they've given Irmo Outreach. March 30th will be 1 year as an official Irmo Outreach Committee LLC. And we're going to try to put together a presentation, have it either April or May, and be showing some of the stuff that we've done the past year since we've been and let the public see it too. We're trying to start a fundraiser. We're going to call it Food Truck Friday. We'd like the first one, if we could, to have it in the Irmo Community Park on May 28th from 6 to 9. And what we're doing, we're raising money for the community to help others. And we've actually come up with a new sign, Irmo outreach.org, serving the community. Help us, help others. Any money donated to us is a tax deductible. And like I say, May 28th, we're going to try to start a Food Truck Friday. We'd like to run it through the summer, part of the fall to October. And we're going to be giving away prizes and going to be doing some raffles. And hope everybody can come out. Thank you.
Where are you going to do that at?
We'd like to do the first one at the Irmo Community Park. But after that, if somebody wants to sponsor a spot, come and get with us and we'll talk with them and see if we can do that.
Thank you. Any other citizens? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of our meeting. We have a discussion. Seeing none, we don't have a discussion on the agenda. We do have an executive session on a contractual/legal matter with Next Level Sports. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. Mr. Moore, I see you here. Would you come on and, what? Mr. Moore is here. He came out of nowhere. So, yeah. We have been properly moved and second. All in favor of going to executive session, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, thank you. We'll be right back. No votes will be taken. Thank you.
Glad I was able to make it. I was at a hearing over at Lexington County.
We are back from our executive session. No votes were taken. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
This is properly moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you all very much for a very productive, long council meeting. Have a great evening, ladies.